Hello everyone and welcome to this video. This is how a winning MSCA proposal looks. Overall 94.20 for call year 2021 with a perfect 5 out of 5 in excellence part. But this wasn't just a cold application. I found my supervisor on LinkedIn and we spent weeks refining the SHERPA project through Skype sessions. We built this together layer by layer, and that collaboration is exactly what the reviewers felt. Here you can see the evaluation summary report of my MSCA proposal SHERPA. The overall point was 94.20, as I said, which was enough for that year to secure the Marie Curie grant. The strongest part of the proposal was the excellent, where I received the full score of 5 out of 5. This means that the reviewers actually found the scientific idea, the novelty, and the research objectives very strong. But the proposal was not perfect. The impact section received 4.3 and the implementation section received 4.6. So in this video, I'm not only going to show what worked well, but also what could have been stronger. And that is why this analysis is useful. You can learn from both the strengths and weakness of a real successful MSCA proposal. This is the core idea behind the SHERPA project. The project focuses on combining micro concentration optics with perovskite solar cell, and the goal was to push photovoltaic efficiency beyond the Shockley-Quasier limit. Here is the actually micro lens, which is placed on the glass side of the device, and its role is to concentrate sunlight onto a smaller active perovskite area by concentrated light efficiency. In this way, we can potentially reduce the material usage in our cell while maintaining the high power output. Another important concept is so-called the self-healing. In our case, this does not come from adding a separate self-healing layer. Instead, the idea was that concentrated illumination could activate a photo-induced recovery mechanism inside the perovskite material itself and helping the device recover part of its performance degradation over the time. This structure, as you can see here, which is simplified, but it's include the main layer, actually the front glass, the transport conductive oxide, the perovskite absorber, the charge transporting layer, and the back electrode. The overall goal of the SHERPA, which was emphasized in the proposal, was to create a photovoltaic platform which is more efficient, more sustainable, and potentially lower in material consumption compared to conventional architecture. Now here I want to describe how to get full score 5 in the excellent section, which is the most important actually section in the MSCA proposal. You should know that in the excellent section, reviewers mainly look for one thing: is the project truly innovative and scientifically strong? From our proposal, I focus on 3 key areas actually. First one was the research approach. The project had a clear scientific question and a realistic methodology. It was important to show that the objectives were ambitious but still achievable within the project duration. And the second was the innovative aspects. Here I emphasize that what was genuinely new in the project, combining micro concentration in my case with a perovskite photovoltaics and exploring light-induced self-healing effects was the innovative aspect of my proposal. The reviewers wants to clearly understand what makes your idea actually different from exciting research. And third was the originality. It is not enough to say your project is innovative. You must explain why your approach is unique and support it with scientific, rational literature and proof of concept idea. One important lesson I learned is this: in MSCA proposal, innovation must be extremely visible. If something is novel, bold it, highlight it, and make sure the reviewer notices it immediately. Here I want to show you our strategy for success in this session, which is about showing the reviewers that your project is not just innovative, it is also realistic and well organized. The first part is the methodology. Reviewers want to see a clear research plan with defined work package, measurable milestones, and a proper risk management. In my proposal, I tried to show that every experiment and objective had a logical structure and backup strategy. The second part is interdisciplinary team. MSCA projects are not meant to be isolated research. The proposal should demonstrate collaboration between different fields and institutions. In SHERPA project, it was combined expertise in photovoltaics, photonics, material science, and device engineering. And we showed it perfectly in the proposal, in the excellence part of the proposal. And the third part, which is very important and you should notice this really specifically, is the open science. This has become increasingly important in European projects. Reviewers expect a commitment to open access publication, reproducible research practice, and proper data management following FAIR principles. So overall, these sections tells the reviewer not only is the idea strong, but the environment, the team, and the execution strategy are also capable of delivering successful results. The second part of the proposal is impact. The impact section is much broader than simply publishing a scientific paper. Reviewers want to understand how your project will benefit you, the scientific community, industry, and even society. In my proposal, the first focus was skill development. The project was designed to improve not only technical expertise in perovskite photovoltaics, but also transferable skills such as communication, leadership, teamwork, and project management. The second part was the dissemination strategy. This includes publishing paper, presenting at conferences, building visibility through website and media, and making the research accessible to different audiences. And the third component was communication and public engagement. European projects increasingly expect researchers to interact with society, for example, through outreach activities, science communications, and engagement with students or stakeholders. The key message here is that MSCA reviewers do not only ask, is the science good? They also ask, how will the project create long-term scientific, economic, and social impact? So our goal should be maximize scientific, social, and economic impact through a skill dissemination and engagement introduced in the proposal. This slide is probably the most important one in the entire presentation till now, because one of the best ways to improve a proposal is to study its weakness honestly. On the right side, you can see the strengths of the impact section of our proposal. The reviewer appreciated the strong skill development plan, the dissemination strategy, the communication activity, and also the overall scientific impact of the projects. But look at the left side here. You can see the criticism that they made. The first weakness was career development. The reviewers felt that I did not explain clearly enough how this project would especially help my long-term career, for example, through networking, opportunities, collaboration, or future academic and industrial positioning. The second weakness was the economic impact, actually, as you can see here. Scientifically, the project was strong, but economically, the proposal needed a clearer discussion about cost, scalability, and market relevance. For example, whether the microconcentrator architecture could reduce overall photovoltaic costs enough to justify the added fabrication complexity. And honestly, this is a very common mistake in academic proposals. Researchers usually explain the science very well, but they often forget to explain why the project mattered economically and professionally in the real world. The last part of the MSCA proposal is the implementation section. The implementation section is where you prove that the project is actually feasible. At this stage, actually, reviewers are no longer asking, is the idea is interesting? They are asking, can this researcher really deliver the project successfully? In my proposal, I divided the work into clear work packages, starting from design and simulation, then device fabrication and optimization, and finally validation and impact assessment. And you can see the three work packages that I have explained till now here. This structure is very important because it shows logical progression and measurable milestones throughout the project. Another key point is the actually risk management of the project. Reviewers want to see that you have considered possible technical problems and already prepared mitigation strategies. Infrastructures also played an important role. Having access to advanced facilities, equipment, and collaborations at the host institutions increases reviewer confidence significantly. But again, there was also weaknesses in my implementation section. As I told you, I got 4.6 for this section. The reviewers wanted a more detailed planning structure, especially clearer interdependencies between tasks and a more comprehensive Gantt chart. This is very important lesson. Even excellence science can lose points if the execution plan looks vague or incomplete. This is the Gantt chart of the SHERPA project. It was not actually perfect, but was not among those bad ones. This is essentially the roadmap of the entire proposal. One thing that MSCA reviewers really like is to see clear and realistic timelines. They want to understand when each task starts actually and when ends, how long it lasts actually, and how different activities connect to each other. In this project, the first part focuses on simulation and micro concentration design of the micro concentration system by simulation. Then the second phase moved toward fabrication and optimization of perovskite devices, and finally the later stages focused on characterization, stability testing, self-healing assessment, and dissemination activity. You can also see that training actually and knowledge transfer activities continue almost throughout the whole project. This is very important in Marie Curie proposals because these grants are not only about research output, they are also about researcher development. And another useful thing in a Gantt chart is showing milestones actually and deliverable clearly. As you can see, M are for milestones and D are for deliverable. It gives reviewers confidence that the project is organized, measurable, and manageable within the proposed time frame. One of the unique aspects of MSCA proposal is the idea of two-way transfer of knowledge. Don't forget about it. It's very important because the reviewers do not want to see a researcher simply receiving training from the host institution. They want to see mutual benefits. On the left side, you can see what the researcher gains from the host institution, advanced scientific techniques, access to facilities, interdisciplinary training, and transferable skills such as leadership, communication, and project management. In my case, this includes areas like NMR characterization, perovskite device fabrication, photonic design, and scientific communication. But the exchange also goes in the other direction. If you look at this right part, you can see what the host institution gains from the researcher. For example, it depends on the project and on the researcher and the host institution. It is for me, for example, this can be include technical expertise, new methodologies, collaboration, publication, and international visibility. This is extremely important in Marie Curie proposal because the program is designed around mobility and knowledge exchange, not just research output. So the key message here is a successful MSCA proposal should clearly demonstrate that both the researcher and the host institution grow stronger throughout this collaboration. Before finishing, here are some practical lessons that I personally think make a huge difference in MSCA proposals. First, and very important, is always check the template and evaluation guide of the exact call year. Many applicants reuse all the structures, but the evaluation criteria and expectations can change slightly every year. So always remind it. Second, use clear visual and figures. Reviewers read many proposals under time pressure. Good diagrams, workflows, and infographics help them understand your idea much faster. And third, make innovation highly visible, as I told also in the excellence part. And actually, third, as I said, make the innovation highly visible. Because if something is novel, do not hide it inside long paragraphs. Highlight it clearly and make the reviewer notice it immediately. Another important point is specifically avoid vague statements, define concrete objectives, milestone deliverables, and measurable outcomes. You should also demonstrate feasibility and risk awareness. A strong proposal is not only ambitious, it is also show that you understand potential challenges and already have mitigation strategies. And finally, tell a coherent story. The best proposals are not just collection of technical sections. They guide the reviewer logically from the problem to the solution to the expected impact. And finally, one important thing I want to say to anyone planning to apply MSCA funding is the competition is becoming stronger every year. When I applied for the MSCA, the practical threshold for funded proposal was around 92. 92, and I got 94.2. But in more recent calls, especially around 2026, many funded proposal was already close or even upper than 96. So yes, the level is very high, but this should not discourage you. What it really means is that details matter more than ever. Clear storytelling, strong innovation, good visuals, solid implementation, and convincing impact strategy. A successful proposal is usually not built in 1 week. It is refined many times, improved section by section, and strengthened through feedback. So, if your first proposal is not successful, that does not mean your idea is weak. Very often, it simply means the proposal itself can become clearer and stronger. I hope this video helped you better understand how MSCA proposals are evaluated and what reviewers actually look for it. And if you have any question, feel free to ask them in comments. Also, please subscribe for more content about perovskite, solar cells, research funding, and scientific career development. You can find them here in my channel. Thank you for watching and good luck with your future application.